Today, more on network attached storage. I'm going to walk you through my automated system to affordably back up my Synology NAS, both here in the studio and in the cloud. It's a set it and forget it system that keeps my data secure. Well, hey everyone, it's Hudson. Welcome to this week's video. We're going to talk about how to back up your NAS. And if that sounds like, what the heck is Hudson talking about? I'd have you look at the video that I did earlier this year. You can click this link. You can go into this video's full description by clicking its title or show more. I've got a link in this video's full description to a video I did earlier this year on how to set up a network attached storage device. I set up a Synology NAS to serve lots and lots of data. You'd use multiple hard drives in there and a redundant array of drives to feed data through a 10 gigabit Ethernet switch at a gigabyte a second into multiple computers should you desire, or just the one computer that you edit with all the time. I have that thing set up right now, flowing data at a gigabyte a second into my laptop through this dock, this Thunderbolt dock, straight into my Mac Studio over there, and then I have another 10 gigabit Ethernet to Thunderbolt adapter on my PC just out of the frame to the right. And I can access my 50 terabytes of information on that Synology NAS on all of these devices and share it. Now I promised there would be a subsequent couple of videos after I did the full sort of unboxing setup. How do you get this thing working? How do you make it so fast? One on backing it up both locally and in the cloud in an affordable, easy, automated way. That's what this video is. Another video will subsequently be coming about how you can replace your cloud-based paid-for services like Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive with instead your Synology Drive yourself for free with your box that you already have. So that'll be another video coming down the road. We'll talk about how to use Synology Drive to replace those paid-for cloud storage services and back up everything on your laptop, your phone, your tablet, whatever have you. So that's coming. Really quick before I dive into how to back up the NAS, I just want to make sure everyone knows that I have an office hours coming on May 2nd. David, Rick, Darren, Woody, and I. It'll be an open Q&A. You can sign up for that at hudsonhenry.com/office hours. Again, that's going to be May 2nd, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'll talk more about that at the end of this video. So this video is going to have a lot of screen sharing, both on the Mac and the PC. All the software and hardware that I'm talking about works equally well with Mac and PC, and I actually am using it on both at the same time. So I'll show you how you set up using some inexpensive, well, relatively inexpensive, big external drives, big slow spinning drives. You're going to back up your network attached storage, your NAS, with those big spinning drives. And you're going to use there's some great software for that. The software I prefer is GoodSync, which is relatively affordable. I think it's $23 a year for up to 5 devices. So my laptop, both of my desktops, and the NAS. It's an app that works with Synology inside the NAS so that it'll recognize any of your attached devices, and you can back up from one to another really easily through the network. It's unique that way. You can set up multiple jobs to do left to right incremental backup where it looks at the source that you've said you want backed up, sees if there's any changes in it, just makes the necessary changes to keep a perfect clone in your backup location, which is going to be those big spinning hard drives. And then we'll use Backblaze to back those big spinning hard drives up to the cloud. So we can literally be backing multiple things from multiple computers up to the NAS, backing the NAS up to those big slow spinning drives which aren't used to access the data or work on it. They're just backing it all up in case of an emergency. Say something haywire happened to the NAS beyond a single drive failure which it can recover from. You've got all that data on some big spinning drives. You could move those back onto a replacement NAS should you need to. Those big drives are backed up in the cloud via Backblaze just in case there's a flood or a fire or some catastrophic event that wipes out my studio. All my data is still there in the cloud, and I can have them send me hard drives with all the data to restore it. So having that all set up and running automatically, incrementally in the background, so I don't even have to think about it, has made my life so much simpler as a creative person. So I want to share how that works. I'm going to jump in, I'm going to do some screencasting, I'll check back in and talk to you to kind of wrap up at the end and describe what's happening for office hours on the second. Okay, so we're sitting here looking at a copy of my desktop computer. This is my PC. I'm using my PC instead of my Mac Studio simply because it was already connected to this to this external backup system, this internet-based cloud backup service called Backblaze that I'm going to talk about. And we're going to talk about how I'm using this computer. You could just as easily use your Mac or your PC. All the software that I'm talking about and showcasing works on either one. I happen to be using the PC because before I bought the Mac Studio, I was using it with Backblaze, and it's just simpler to continue using it with Backblaze than to move that account over to another computer. So essentially, we're going to talk about a 3-step backup system. So we've got all of our files on our network attached storage. That has a OneDrive failure protection, so that if one of the drives in that network attached storage device failed, it would give you a warning. You could replace it, not lose any data. But we're going to back up all the data on the network attached storage over to local slow spinning hard drives. You know, they don't need to be fancy. They're just big external hard drives. I'm using a series of 14 terabyte Western Digital MyBooks. There are solutions by Seagate. There are other big storage solutions. We're going to create a local backup of that network attached storage. If you have as much data as me, you might want to do it to several drives like I do. And then those drives are going to be backed up to the cloud. The only purpose of those drives is to back up the data that's on your computer, just to make sure that everything is safe. It's going to locally back it up in case there was a massive failure. Somehow your network attached storage system went down and you needed to rebuild it from files right here in the studio. Boom, you've got it. If the studio caught on fire and burned to the ground and you lost everything here, you'd still have all that data uploaded to Backblaze, which is a very, very affordable backup service. It's $7 a month for an unlimited amount of data. I have over 20 terabytes backed up there for $7 a month, and it gives me peace of mind that if something horrible happened, I'd be backed up. If we take a look at our file structure, I'm using Windows File Explorer. You could use the Finder on Mac. You can just see the local drives that I have physically connected to this computer. You know, I have my operating system that's in the computer. That's an NVMe drive. You know, a very fast SSD. There's a Blu-ray disc with nothing in it. Can't remember the last time I used it. And I have these 3 14 terabyte backup drives. All right, there's one other drive that's built as a scratch drive that just works as virtual memory resource for very, very heavy duty, memory intensive projects like panoramic mergers and video editing in Adobe Premiere. Don't worry about that. That stuff's all just temporary trash data that never needs to be backed up. So, you know, what I want to back up to Backblaze is my operating system drive, just in case something went wrong with this computer, I could rebuild it. And these 3 drives that back up my network attached storage. All right, boom, boom, boom. Now, if you look at network locations, I want you to exclude this one. This is just a bunch of entertainment, music, and movies and things I share from my studio to my house. I have 3 folders that are on the network attached storage device, my network attached storage Synology, disk station. The first is NAS, Hudson Henry NAS. That's got all my photos, all my videos. There's over 20 terabytes of stuff in there, coming up on 30 terabytes of stuff in there. The second are 2 Synology Drive team folders that I've created. Well, a My Drive folder and a team folder that I share for the organization. Rick and I share that folder along with some other folks. And this is essentially like Dropbox, but on your own NAS and free. So you can, once you've got your NAS set up and it's on your network, we're going to talk about that in another video. That's the 3rd in my series of using network attached storage that we'll talk about as a way to potentially replace Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive storage that you pay for every month with your own NAS, just because you can synchronize everything from your computer or your tablet or your phone, or your team can collaborate and share in a team folder like this very much like Dropbox. You can also send share links to people to share information that are in those drive folders, and there's applications for your phone and your tablet and your laptop and your desktop in order to selectively synchronize stuff from these folders. So those we're going to back up too, but they're sort of separate folders on the NAS. But all these are network locations. These are not local. The problem with using Backblaze just to straight back up a NAS, that's that offline, that's that cloud-based storage, that's off-site storage, is that unless you have an enterprise level subscription, which is much more than $7 a month, when you go into its settings, this is Backblaze's control panel, it will only back up local drives. You're not going to see the network attached storage drives. That requires more of an enterprise level. They expect you're some kind of big business, not a personal person with personal data. That's still rare with network attached storage. So you can only see all these drives that are physically connected. You can see I have all those selected to back up to my unlimited backup, except for that little scratch drive, which I said is just temporary data that nobody needs to back up. All right, and the way that Backblaze works is you pay $7 a month, and it really is locked to this computer. I would have to transfer the account over to my Mac Studio to change it and then resynchronize everything up in the cloud. And I think you can see here, this is as simple as the settings get, that we've got 22 terabytes of data backed up in there, and it's just continuously looking for changes and incrementally backing it up and keeping it all in the cloud. You can download files from this cloud-based storage if you have a problem and something gets deleted or you want to recover something, but it's a little bit onerous, it's a little tedious. It's more designed for a catastrophic failure like I talked about. If you had a fire or a flood and everything got wiped out, you can connect to the people at Backblaze and say, hey, I have an unlimited account and I want you to send me hard drives with all of my data. And you pay a deposit, bring those hard drives in, download all the data to your new network attached storage drive, and then send them those back to get your deposit back. It's an insurance plan for your data, and it works really, really well. The problem again is it doesn't back up the network attached storage device, the Synology NAS. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use these big local drives to do that using some software called GoodSync, which works both for the PC and the Mac, just like Backblaze does. And it has its own network attached storage Synology app, which you can install on your Synology drive to make it visible to GoodSync. It's pretty cool stuff, and also very affordable. I think it's on sale right now for $23 a year. And I'm going to put links in this video's description. You can just click up here to go to my ATS links page, hudsonhenry.com/ATS links, and go to the digital darkroom section, and I'll have affiliate links to both Backblaze and to GoodSync there for you to use. But you can also go to this video's full description. Just click on the title of the video or show more, go through the full description, and you'll see that there are links in this video's description to both Backblaze and GoodSync. All right, so let me show you what we're talking about here. So right now, I'm going to run over, this is Backblaze. You can actually sign up for a 15-day free trial and see how it works for you if you want. It's ready to go for you. I've got links again, like I said, with my affiliate link up here. This is where you go to get GoodSync. Now they also have a download with a free version even, but for you to use it with your Synology drive, you do have to buy it. So if you follow my link and you go into the buy now, you'll see it's $22.50 for a year to get a GoodSync subscription to 5 devices. Now, if you have a laptop and a desktop and a Synology drive, that's 3 devices right there. I have 2 desktops, a laptop, and a Synology drive, and I'll show you how we utilize this. So you just add that to cart, $22.50 for the year. Not the biggest hit for having the ability to back up an unlimited amount of data for an additional $7 a month with Backblaze. All right, so right now we're in my Synology NAS's desktop. This is the Synology the disk station manager that we're the operating system for the NAS. You access that like we talked about in the video where I set up the NAS. That's linked in this video's description as well. But this is essentially the desktop for the NAS for operating it. If you go into the Synology file station, that's your browser for your files. You see I have those 3 folders set up in here. These are 3 folders that all are on that same volume in my NAS. And you know, this one has my photography and it has my video and it has a whole bunch of other stuff that I use and move around. So in my Synology drive with Rick, we have shared things for the business and workshops. And in my own drive, I have a bunch of stuff that I utilize in there too. All right. So that's where those 3 folders, when you're looking at my network locations, are the network attached storage, the Synology drive, and the Rick and Hudson Synology drive, my personal sort of Dropbox-like system and Rick and my Dropbox-like system. We want to back all that stuff up. All right, and you can see I have this GoodSync server software running on my Synology right now. But if you didn't have that, you would just go to the package center. That's sort of like the Synology App Store, and you'd type GoodSync, S-Y-N-C. And once you type that in, if you didn't have it, you could click to install. It's going to be free to install. Once it installs, just like me, you'll be able to click and say open. And when you do that, it's going to ask for your GoodSync server credentials. So that's going to be the email and password you created when you create your account when you're buying GoodSync. You're just going to enter the same information that you logged into GoodSync with here on the NAS app, which opens in a separate window. So I'm going to use my email here, and then there's my passwords automatically coming in here from my password software, management software. And essentially, it comes in here and you could just, if you didn't have this set up, you could click activate right there. I could use the activate, the same as my purchased license, click to activate. You can go in and manage your GoodSync account and make sure that everything's activated like you want. If we click in here, you can see that the licenses, I have my NAS has its license active. I can always unassign it. This PC that we're working on right now has its license active. My Mac Studio has its license active. My XPS 15 laptop has its license active. I still have one available. You know, if I wanted to put it on, say, my wife's MacBook Air, boom, there you go. All right, so that's that simple. Once it's activated and logged in there, you just really are gonna need to have that running in your NAS. So you've got your GoodSync software running and installed. Then all you really need to do is you've downloaded and installed the GoodSync software. That's going to be running in the background on your computer. If you're on Mac, it's going to be up in the toolbar up here alongside Backblaze up there. If you're on PC, come down here to look at all the software that's running. You click that little caret there beside my network connection. And you'll see the GoodSync logo right there. Backblaze is here, GoodSync is there. And I'm just going to go ahead, click it, and you have a whole bunch of different options. I'm going to say full mode, and we'll have a look here. And you can see I have a number of jobs. I think one is analyzing right now. These are each jobs. This is software that's a little like people on Mac would think of Time Machine. On PCs, it's like backup software. It lets you create a job to either synchronize files both directions from one location to another, or backup files from one location to another. And that would be left to right, essentially. Anytime anything changes on one side, it gets mirrored and changed on the other side. And it's incremental. It's looking for individual little changes. It's not constantly rewriting everything. It's analyzing one side, saying, oh, this is slightly different than our backed up files, and just editing the backed up files to match. With some settings. I'm going to show you how it all works here. We'll go in and take a deeper look here. Say you were going to create a job. We'll call it GoodSync Demo. And the neat thing about this, again, is you're going to be able to back up your NAS to those local drives, which then can be backed up into Backblaze, and that creates that 3-step backup process that you really want. We have a little bit of file redundancy in that one hard drive loss capability in the NAS. Then we have the local drives that are backing up the NAS. then we have those local drives backed up in the cloud to Backblaze. So you are redundant 3 ways to protect all those files that are so critical and important. Okay, so when I create it, I say GoodSync demo for this new job by just clicking new job, and I have the choice of a backup. It's a one-way job. It copies files and folders from the left side to the right side. That's what we want. Synchronize is kind of dangerous. If anything changes on one side, it gets changed on both sides, like a shared folder in an online service, like a team folder. That's not what we want. We want to do a backup. We're going to say, okay. And now it just tells us step by step, choose the left and right sync folders for your job. Now that's up here. So we're going to click, all right? And it looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, but it's not as complicated as it looks. If you click on local here under my computer, you'll see there's all those drives that we talked about earlier, all right? But that's not what we want. We want to use the GoodSync Connect. Now, you'll see my account is listed here under GoodSync Connect. GoodSync Storage, that's a separate thing. We haven't paid for that. That's paid for cloud storage through GoodSync. We're not doing that. We're just using the synchronization software that we bought for $23 a year. You don't need to buy any storage space. We're going to go in here, and if you click on this little button, Add, what is it asking for? It's asking for that GoodSync email and password. You enter that, and boom, all of a sudden, now your email address is going to show up here because it recognizes that you have, that's your account and that you have a license code. Then when you click on it through the GoodSync Connect, you'll see all the devices like we talked about, like we showed earlier. Now, Rick's NAS was listed on here too for a while. That doesn't matter. That's my buddy Rick in LeGrand. But my network attached storage drive is right here, right? My desktop that we're on right here. If I clicked on that, you could see all the drives. Once again, they're local, but they're also in this through GoodSync Connect. Everything in my account, all right? My Mac Studio, what are its drives? It's gonna connect in and you can see all the stuff on its hard drive, all right? Super cool. My XPS 15, same thing. What we wanted to go to is the NAS. It is like its own computer after all. And you're gonna see a bunch of system files, all right? Just like we saw when we opened up the Mac Studio, you see a lot of its kind of inner working files. Don't worry about any of that stuff. We're after volume 1. That's that setup that we set up with the hard drives. We created volume 1, a storage pool that was 40 some terabytes. All right, that's where everything's at. And you can see there's a bunch of app folders. Those are system files in my shared folder. And then you'll see those 3 folders, which we were just talking about. There's the 2 I created for my Synology drive, my Dropbox-like system that we're going to talk about in the next video I do on network attached storage. And then there's my big main one right here. This one has everything, right? My photography, my video, all the main data that we're using the NAS for, those 20 terabytes of data. Along with some backups that I've created using GoodSync on my Mac Studio. So I'm backing up my Lightroom catalog drive and other things. There are drive backups, and I'll show you in a second over on the Mac how I do that. I have jobs for each hard drive that back up onto the NAS using GoodSync Connect, all right? Not that it matters much. What I want to do is back this guy up, and I'm going to demonstrate how I do that. So I'm going to click on this, and then over on the right side, I'm going to tell it where I'm sending it. Well, we're going to go over to my computer local, right? Not away. And I want to back up everything but my photography. My photography is a huge file. So we're going to back up all the video and everything else on my NAS to a folder that we're going to call it Video Plus, which is what I've actually done. And I'm going to create a new folder in there for the backup job. We're going to call it Video Plus GoodSync Backup, or GoodSync Demo. All right, we'll create that folder, and that's where we're putting the whole backup, right there on that drive. All right, now, but I didn't want to do photography, right? How do I exclude that? You go right up here where it says multiple folders and files and click that. You have to wait till you've identified where it's coming from and where it's going to. So now it shows everything that we've got in here that we're planning on sending and where it's all going into this folder. And we can say, I want to exclude this one, photography. That excludes a whole bunch of data. Now it'll fit on that drive. If you don't want to send something over there. Now your system might be much more simple. You know, you might only have 5 terabytes of data and you pick an 18 terabyte external hard drive and you have lots of room to just back it all up simply from one drive to the other. You don't even need to go through this step of showing multiple folders and files and clicking and excluding things. But if you do, all you do then is click on apply, boom, all right? And it's gonna tell you the removable drive with the volume Backblaze Video Plus. That's that hard drive, that external hard drive that we're backing up to. It's saying it's a removable drive. This is a USB drive plugged into the computer. It's not an internal drive. Maybe in Windows, it could change its name. Maybe in Mac, you might rename it. You'll get the same window in Mac. We would like to call it this, so we recognize it no matter where it goes, all right? So you just say, yes, we'd like to use the portable folder path. You just click yes, it's protecting you. Boom, all you would have to do is click Analyze and Sync. But we can go further than that and we can automate this, okay? We've created, this is just one task. You can see I already have mine set up. Mine's a little more complicated because I have 22 terabytes backing up to 3 different 14 terabyte backup drives. Mine's more complicated just because I have so much data with video, with photos, with 25 years of photos that I probably should go through and do more culling of. But I click here to options, all right? This options, I'm on the GoodSync demo job that we just created, and I click on options. And if I scroll down this list, there's a lot of things you can choose in here. You know, there are some important, this setting right here is important, the recycle bin. I would say save deleted or replaced files to the recycle bin. Only the last version. You don't need to save version after version after version of it because otherwise your backup will bloom into this huge thing. But then you can say clean the saved folder up after this many days. So after 30 days, if I haven't realized I made a mistake in deleting something, go ahead and delete it completely. All right, so I do that. I absolutely do that. Otherwise, I leave all these settings stock. Now, I also go into this auto button, and you have a chance to set this up so that it's automatically happening, whether you choose to do it or not. That's why I have these green check marks here all the way along, is because every 6 hours, I have it do it. So I click periodically on a timer every 6 hours. Boom, and I say save. Now this job is automatically going to run. I actually want to stop it because I don't have room on that drive to run it. But you see how that would work. It automatically said, oh, I need to do this. And it's going to analyze the folder on the left and make sure that it copies everything that isn't identical into the folder on the right and keep it backed up. And it's going to save anything that you have deleted in that recycle bin on the drive on the right for 30 days. If you haven't saved it after 30 days, decided that you needed to bring it back, too bad, it's deleted. And it really is pretty much that simple. So let me sort of show the structure one more time. All right, we can go ahead. I'm going to actually delete this now that it would be a problem for me if that ran, because I don't really have room on that drive because we just essentially copied what I'd already done here. But essentially, it's as simple as, you know, for you, if you had a smaller system, all you really need to do is have one big external drive, like one of these 14 terabyte drives. And you have that keyed into Backblaze so that when Backblaze is running in the background, $7 a month, unlimited data backup in the cloud, it's continuously backing up constantly. You can see it's got 22 terabytes backed up. And then under settings, you make sure that that backup drive is checked along with your local hard drive just for safety. Why not? It's unlimited. You say, okay, that's running, all right? Then on your network attached storage device, you install that GoodSync server software and you use GoodSync to go ahead and back up your network attached storage device to that external hard drive. Pretty darn simple. It becomes absolutely automated to where you don't have to think about it. As you bring in photos and put them into your network attached storage device, behind the scenes while you're getting dinner a few hours later, it sends it over to the photo folder in Backblaze. And then I call it the Backblaze drive. The only thing this does is serves as a local backup and syncs to Backblaze as a local drive. Again, you can't sync a network attached storage device to Backblaze. Nobody's better than Backblaze for the price at unlimited data, which we as photographers and videographers generate large quantities of data, and you don't want to pay by the megabyte to back that up in the cloud like you do with Dropbox or Google Drive or Microsoft One or any of the other more retail services. Backblaze is an absolute steal of a deal and can save you in the case of some kind of catastrophic emergency. I promised that I'd demonstrate how I back up a couple of drives over on my Mac, and they get integrated into that whole system I just showed you on the PC to get backed up to the big hard drives on that desk and then sent to the cloud via Backblaze. Well, I'll show you. GoodSync is up here running all the time on my Mac Studio as well. Again, I have 5 devices licensed: the network attached storage device, the PC, the Mac Studio, and my laptop are only 4. I still have a spare license running it here. And you can see I've got those network attached storage drive folders are here. They're anywhere that I connect into them in my home network. So they're on my laptop, they're on my PC, they're on my Mac Studio. I can work with the data there over that fast 10 gigabit Ethernet connection all at the same time from all 3 computers. It's pretty amazing that way. You take a look here, you've got all those same folders in my NAS folder, and you can see I've also got, the Synology Drive folder that I use like Dropbox, and the shared team folder that I use like Dropbox with Rick for the business. So what I want is for this 2 terabyte Samsung external drive and this Lightroom, this fast Lexar Blaze drive that have my Lightroom catalog and my video editing project files to also get backed up into that system. And I just use Backblaze to do that. It's really quite simple. There's no need to have multiple computers, but just because I have another computer that has drives connected that I want synced in, it's as easy as installing GoodSync Connect or your GoodSync software and activating the license on this computer. Again, for $23 a year, you get a license on up to 5 computers or 4 computers and a network attached storage drive. And I created 2 jobs, just like we did over on the PC. The first one backs up this video drive. It's a Samsung T7 fast SSD drive. And it's just connected on the left. The folder that we're synchronizing is just a local drive on my Mac, the 2 terabyte T7-1, that drive. And I'm using the GoodSync Connect through my email address, just like we did over on the PC, to go to my NAS, to the drive backup folders, and I named a folder inside for that drive. It's my active video drive. So I just named it that. And if you have a look in my NAS, if I go into the Finder here and have a look in my NAS, you'll see in the drive backups, there is that folder. It just absolutely mirrors this little external drive that's connected into my Mac, and it keeps it backed up all the time. I have those same options running. I have it set to clean up after 10 days, and I have it set to automatically go every 4 hours because I'm constantly working on those files, but otherwise identical to what we did over on the PC. On the Lightroom catalog drive, which is a Lexar Blaze, an even faster little SSD drive, again, local on my Mac, volumes, Lightroom Master M, that's this guy plugged into my Mac Studio, going through the GoodSync Connect through my email addresses, credentials, to the network attached storage drives, drive backups, Lightroom Master M, which is this folder right here I created in GoodSync that keeps that mirrored exactly. If there's a change in my Lightroom catalog while I'm working on my Mac and 4 hours go by and it checks and it sees that change, it just incrementally backs it up bloop, so that it's stored identical here. If I lost my Lightroom catalog drive, I've still got all that data both in my NAS and on, because the NAS is backing up as we just set up over on my desktop to those big spinning slow hard drives. I have a slow but stable connected copy right here in the studio. If the studio burned down, those big hard drives are backed up to the cloud with Backblaze, so everything is safe. I think it starts to show you some of the power of having fast network attached storage on your network. All right, so I hope that all makes sense. That really does simplify my life as a video editor photographer. I have so much data coming in on a weekly basis that I'm pumping into that network attached storage device, and I can take it from my laptop and send it over there. I can be generating something on my Mac Studio and send it over there. I can be working on my PC and send it over there. And because GoodSync is set up, backing all that data on the NAS up to those big spinning hard drives, which are then backed up to Backblaze, I don't even have to think about it. As long as it gets on that NAS, I know it's backed up. So that's a system I would highly recommend. Again, all the links that I provide in this video's full description are over on my website at hudsonhenry.com/ATS links. I also link those big spinning Western Digital drives in this video's description and a good USB 3 hub that you can connect those in with a long USB cable so they don't even have to be anywhere near your desk. You can put them on the other side of the room from you or in a closet. All this stuff can kind of be tucked away and just cabled into your workstation so you don't even know it's there. It's pretty cool. So if you have any questions about it at all, hit me up. You can put questions and comments in this video's description. Again, I've been traveling, so I'm going to be behind on comments for the last couple of months through Charleston and Cuba and Florida. I've been sort of on the road, home for like 5 days in the last 6 weeks. So I will be working on catching up with all my correspondence. But if you have comments or questions, never hesitate to shoot me an email, hi@hudsonhenry.com, or hit me up in these comments, and I will eventually see it. And make sure you sign up. Speaking of coming back from Cuba and Charleston, we're going to be talking about some stories from the road, sharing some pictures and some fun times, and taking your questions in a big free photography get-together on Zoom and YouTube Live. That's again May 2nd, 10 a.m. Pacific. You can sign up at hudsonhenry.com/office hours. That link is in this video's full description along with all the other links that I'm talking about. So thanks so much. I hope this helps you in your quest to keep your data safe and easily accessible. I gotta say, I feel like I have the Rosetta Stone for backing up and easily working with all of my data between setting up this 10 gigabit infrastructure through the switch and the NAS, and then having GoodSync and Backblaze. Things are easy. So I hope that you can get the same level of security with your data and ease of use. I hope I can help a little bit on the way to that all happening. And hey, I hope you're out there staying creative, having fun, being safe. We'll see you next week.